I spoke of movies earlier. The nice thing about movies, okay, the nice thing about movies is that they illustrate moral concepts. And the more you understand ethics, the more you can enjoy a movie, right? And so there is, and you look at the movie, look at good or bad people, that's they are in real life good people, but they've taken on a certain role. I'm a villain and I'm a good guy, and not necessarily a hero, but I'm going to do the right thing, all right? So when you're looking at those kind of scenarios, all right, you get to see good and bad and in on the big screen, and you're moved by it, all right? In real life, the same thing occurs, but you don't have all the information you have on this on the big screen. And the big screen, they exaggerate, they highlight, they make sure you understand this person is bad, this person is good, this person in between. They make sure that happens, right? And to do a full understanding of ethics, you need to know both sides, okay? Moral skepticism is the opposite of moral objectivism or ethical objectivism, okay? Moral skepticism is the idea that there are no universal moral truth. It's the antithesis of the previous. It's the opposite, okay? It's the opposite, all right? There are no universal moral truths, okay? There's no right and wrong for everyone. There's no rule like say that we should all tell the truth. We should all be honest. No such thing. And even if they were real, we can't know by life experiences all over the place. Okay, and human mind can't comprehend this idea. Maybe a God can come through it, but not humans. We're too incompetent to get to that level. Okay, moral skepticism must be looked at. Okay, we must study it because as philosophers, we want to know if it's true. We cannot ask people who are behaving immorally because someone have chosen to live immorally, selfishly doing whatever they want, not concerned if they're hurting people, and in fact hurting people sometimes because they may enjoy that too. But if someone is immoral, of course they're going to promote moral skepticism because they have decided, they have chosen not to act right. Okay. So to know if moral skepticism is the reality and we cannot have access to moral truth, we must look at it philosophically. To do that, we must deploy arguments. There are 4 arguments I would like to touch on. Please go to the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy and look up these concepts and get a deeper understanding. Okay, I am just giving you the general understanding, which works really well in conversation. But to get a deeper understanding, look up these 4 concepts. All right. First, I'm going to look at these 2 because these are 2 major arguments and then 2 minor arguments. First of all, we are members of society. Ethical subjectivism says, look, when you look at people in society, what makes it right or wrong is the individual. Every single person has the power to determine what is morally right and what is morally wrong. If George said that stealing is right, then it is right. If Fred says stealing is wrong, then it is wrong. There is no universal truth above them. Okay, even though they have open views, that's okay because ethics is based on the individual view. It's like when people say ethics is all an opinion, this is what they're really referring to, but they don't really mean that when you talk to them. Okay, they don't really mean that. You know what I mean? What they're really saying that it's complicated and you have the free will factor. People can choose to act differently. That's what I'm thinking. All right. But look at this idea, ethical subjectivism. If it is true, okay, it's true for everyone. It becomes universal. Everyone can choose, all right? Then if you accept that to be the way morality is, then it doesn't really work. Because if you look at the world around you, you know, if people think that's what you think about morality, they won't want to associate with you. You try to convince them you make up right and wrong, go ahead. They don't want us, your friends will leave you because that means if you decide tomorrow that stealing from them is right, it's going to be right. They're not going to go for that. They want stability, that you have adopted a rule you should not steal from your friends. All right. And so ethical subject as a practical matter does not work in the world. Please review that on the internet and encyclopedia of philosophy, get a deeper understanding and see the problems involved in this particular approach to moral skepticism. The other one is cultural relativism. When you look at the society as a whole, you could look at the individuals of society determine what's right and wrong. That's ethical subjectivism. Or you could look at the whole group, the community, all right? And in this regard, cultural relativism is the idea that is the society itself as a whole that determines what is right and what is wrong. There's no universal truth above the society. Japan determines what is right for its people. Australia determines what's right for its people. Germany determine what's right for its people. There's nothing above all the cultures. Okay. And this Cultural is very strong psychologically because we all internalize our sense of ethics from our family, from our society that we emerge from. Okay, this is our true condition. All right, but there are problems here as well. It would mean that a society can't self-correct itself. We have a dictatorship that seems to act like that. We determine what is right and wrong. Enough people decide to go against that dictatorship, the totalitarian nature, and get rid of the government, and they establish a new government, okay, that doesn't have the same rules. Okay, there is a sense that if cultural realm was true, there can be no right and wrong in that culture, no matter what you do and no matter how horrible it is. Everyone's supposed to accept it. We don't do that. We feel we're being wrong. We just can't correct it. The minute we get a chance, we correct it because then there is a higher truth we're looking for. Okay, there are many ways to look at cultural relativism, and it is limited in that regard. Okay, it is limited because otherwise you would have wars all the time. All right, I decide that your oil, my country decide that your oil should be our oil. It's cultural relative. We say it's right. You come, we try to go take that oil. You guys fight us back. It's not true. We, as the other nation, gonna have their own truths, and if you try to go against their truths, you're gonna be warring. All right. Cultural realm has problems. Again, look up this concept inside the Internet Encyclopedia Philosophy. Right. The next two I call minor, in the sense that there are some people who argue for them, and mostly non-philosophers, okay? But we need to put it on the table, okay? Is it possible, because we are biological in nature, we appear like animals in the world, is it possible that morality is impossible for us because of our natural biological nature? We just can't help ourselves. We are just unethical creatures, selfish beings, which some people argue for. Okay. Psychological hedonism is the view that we are born such that we always pursue pleasure as the most important thing in any decision, in any act, all the time. We are born that way. We call that hedonism. Okay. Pleasure is the most important thing in any decision I'm going to make. I'm going to eat food. I'm going to eat the food that gives me the greatest pleasure. Even the food is unhealthy for me. If it gives me pleasure, I'm going to eat it no matter what. I'm going to eat it because it gives me the greatest pleasure. And of course, if I do that, I'm going to destroy my health, but it doesn't matter. I'm enjoying myself until I'm in the hospital. Psychological hedonism, if it is true, it means whatever act I'm contemplating, I'm going to engage in it based on how I feel. Not how it caused me to feel, like I mentioned in moral sense, is that it's going to give me pleasure, I'm going to do it. Okay? If lying to you is going to cause me pleasure, I'm going to get money from you in the business transaction, I'm going to lie. Okay? Make me feel good. Okay? So psychology, if it's true, does not work. We have to talk about psychohedonism. There is going to be a moral theory that's going to be based on feeling. At least, actually, two of them can be based on how to manage your feelings to get to the moral truth. And they're going to be arguing against psychological hedonism. Psychological egoism is the other side of the coin. Okay, we are born, remember, biological. We are born psychologically such that we are always self-centered, always pursuing our greatest good. It's the view, if you want to write out the definition, psychological egoism is the view that we are born selfish. We are always taking advantage of other people. That's what selfishness really means. I'm taking advantage of other people. If you take care of your friend and then you take care of yourself, okay, you're being altruistic. You put them before yourself. If you put yourself first, take care of yourself first, and then take care of your friend, you're being an egoist. Both of them are good ways to behave in the world. Psychological egoism should be psychological egotism. Psychological egoism is the view that we are born selfish. And if that's the case, you can't count on such people to be moral. You can't count on them. Many people believe in psychological egoism, and some people believe in psychological hedonism. And I would say, from my own observation of people in the world, there are some people who are born psychologically hedonists, and there are some people who are born psychological egoists. Okay, and we have to deal with these in terms of psychology. But not everyone's like that. For any of these four theories to be the right one, it means everybody's like that. Yes, there are ethical subjectives in the world. People go around saying that if I say the sky is red, then the sky is red. There are people who do that. Okay, there are people who do that. You know, and so we see them. My culture is the only culture. Okay, and any of the other cultures are inferior to us. Our way of life, the only way. There are people that engage in that. As students of philosophy, you must understand the background definition of these concepts. And some people may try to act on it, but in the long run, none of these will actually work. Okay, so if you look at it through the eyes of reasoning, moral skepticism is not true. There's certain relativity people may choose with their free will what they want to lean on, but it cannot be true because none of these arguments work. Again, please take some time and use the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Look at all these four concepts actually. Okay, you may also use the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, especially for the psychological egoism and psychological hedonism.